Hi, welcome to World Unknown. Today we are going to explain tips and facts about Connecticut. Come on, let's get started. About Connecticut. Connecticut is the third smallest state in area, measuring only 90 miles east to west and 55 miles north and south. It is the 29th most populated state, with about 3,400,000 people. It is a leader in industries such as insurance and transportation-related manufacturing. Algonquian Indian tribes such as the Pequot were the first to live in the area. The first European explorer was Adrian Block, who claimed the area for the Netherlands in 1614. The Dutch and British both settled there in 1633. England claimed the whole area in 1674. Connecticut was one of the 13 original colonies, and one of the most important states. In the Revolutionary War, Connecticut delegates were leaders in the Constitutional Convention of 1787. It became the fifth state in the Union in 1788. American history owes much to the state. In 1787, the delegates from Connecticut came up with a compromise about how many representatives each state could send to the new Congress. This is one reason it is called the Constitution State. Bridgeport is the largest city, with about 142,000 people. P.T. Barnum, who founded the Barnum and Bailey Circus, was mayor. He helped turn this port into a top transportation center. The coastline on the state's southern boundary has many bays and harbors. A busy waterway, Long Island Sound, separates Connecticut from New York's Long Island. Eli Whitney, from New Haven, invented the cotton gin in 1794. It did the work of about 50 people. The Eli Whitney Museum in Hamden highlights his contributions to mass production. The fundamental tilde orders were adopted by tilde early settlers in 1639. Some tilde people think of them as the first written constitution in America. It is another reason Connecticut is known as the Constitution State. Village greens, or public areas of natural beauty, were the centers of many colonial villages. Hartford, the state capital, has the oldest state house in the U.S. It was built in 1796. Hartford is the second largest city. More than 100 insurance companies have offices in Connecticut. The first U.S. sea shipping insurance was sold there about 200 years ago. The first accident insurance policy in the U.S. was sold in Hartford in 1864. Kayaking, canoeing, rafting, fishing, biking, skiing and hiking are popular outdoor activities. The mountain laurel as the state lake compounds in Bristol was the first family theme park in America. It was built in 1846. Flower. There are mountains in the northwest part of the state. Mystic Seaport as a recreation of a shipbuilding and whaling town of the 1800s. Its museum has the largest collection of boats in the world. The Nautilus, the first nuclear-powered submarine, be explored at the Submarine Force Museum in Groton. It was built there in 1954. Old Newgate Prison and copper mine in East Granby was used during the Revolutionary War to jail people loyal to the British. It was also the site of one of the first copper mines in America. The white oak is the state tree. More than 2,000 puppets from all over the world can be found at the Ballard Institute and Museum of Puppetry in stores. Quinnipiac is the Native American name that and Quat, Connecticut and Quat, comes from. It means and Quat, beside the long tidal river, and Quat, the Connecticut River runs almost through the center of the state and empties into Long Island Sound. Many cities, including Hartford, grew up along the river. The American robin is the state bird. The sperm whale is the state animal. Mark Twain wrote most of the adventures of Tom Sawyer and Quat, and and Quat. The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn and Quat, at his home in Hartford. The U.S. Coast Guard Academy in New London was established in 1910. Vacationing tourists enjoy more than 250 miles of shoreline on Long Island Sound, about 8,400 miles of rivers and streams, and 6,000 hikes and ponds. Forests cover more than 60%. The American Clock and Watch Museum in Bristol has the largest display of American-made clocks in the world. It highlights clockmaking from the state's early days. In the 1800s, textile making, especially of silk, zero and cotton, was an important industry near the state's many rivers. The Wyndham Textile and History Museum in Willimantic has exhibits about the textile industry during the 1700s and 1800s. Yale University in New Haven is the third oldest college in the country, founded in 1701. The Yale Library is one of the biggest in the world. The Beardsley Zoo in Bridgeport is the major one in Connecticut. It features animals from North and South America. Acts about Connecticut. The state is named after the Connecticut River, which bisects the state and is a major river in the U.S. The Connecticut River flows through the center of the state, south to the Long Island Sound. The word Connecticut is derived from the Native American word Quinnitucket, meaning besides the long, tidal river. The Connecticut River flows through 4 states including New Hampshire, Vermont, Massachusetts, and Connecticut. Arriving in 1614, the first settlers in the state were the Dutchmen. The Dutch were fur traders who built a fort near present-day Hartford. On August 22, 1902, Theodore Roosevelt became the first U.S. president to ride in an automobile while in office. He stopped in Hartford's Pope Park and spoke to a gathering of about 10,000 workers. Interestingly, Mr. Roosevelt was also the first president to own a car and have a telephone in his home. Bear Mountain in Salisbury in the northwest corner of the state is the highest peak in the state. The Old Newgate Prison and Copper Mine, 1773, in East Granby, Connecticut is the oldest surviving state prison in the nation. However, in 1827, the prison was abandoned. During its more than 50 years as a penitentiary, well over 800 prisoners had served time there, including 4 women. Connecticut has 169 towns, 21 cities and 9 boroughs. Connecticut is one of the 6, Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Connecticut, New England states. In 1901, the first law regulating the speed of a motor vehicle was imposed in Connecticut. Initially, the law restricted the drivers not to exceed 12 mph. Connecticut is one of the original 13 colonies: Delaware, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Georgia, Connecticut, Massachusetts Bay, Maryland, South Carolina, New Hampshire, Virginia, New York, North Carolina, and Rhode Island. Connecticut is home of Samuel Colt, the inventor of the revolver. Connecticut was a leading manufacturer of guns and other arms. Connecticut was once known as the Arsenal of the Nation. The nickname mainly originates from the fact that during the 19th and 20th century, the state was home to many companies that manufactured firearms, including Volcanic Repeating Arms Company, Sturm Ruger, Jocelyn Firearms, and Winchester Repeating Arms Company. The inventor of the process of vulcanization, Charles Goodyear, was born in New Haven, Connecticut. Goodyear was a self-taught chemist and engineer who received patent number 3633 from the United States Patent Office on June 15, 1844. Did you know why Connecticut became known as the Provision State? It is due to the fact that during the Revolutionary War, Connecticut sent many supplies and cannon to the Continental Army. Connecticut is nicknamed the Constitution State because the Fundamental Orders of Connecticut, first adopted in 1639, served as a model for the U.S. Constitution. The orders were the first laws that acknowledged people as the true foundation of public authority, and it gave voters the right to elect government officials. The world's first nuclear submarine, USS Nautilus, SSN 571, was constructed in Groton, Connecticut, between 1952 and 1954. It had the ability to remain submerged almost indefinitely. Because it used nuclear fuel and no air, it lasted in service for 25 years. The Scoville Memorial Library in Connecticut is the oldest publicly funded library in the U.S. It was established in 1771 by a local man named Richard Smith. Richard brought the first set of 200 books from London, with the funds contributed by 39 people from the town of Salisbury. Hartford, the state's capital, is called the insurance capital of the world. In 1898, the first car insurance in America was issued at Hartford. In 1937, Connecticut became the first state to issue permanent license plates to cars. Connecticut has the highest personal income per capita, more than $70,000 in the country. However, the national average is $50,392. In the area, only Delaware and Rhode Island are smaller than Connecticut. Between 1701 and 1874, the state had two capitals, New Haven and Hartford. In print since October 29, 1764, the Hartford Courant is the oldest continuously published newspaper in the United States. Hartford Public High School in Hartford, Connecticut is the second oldest public secondary school in the U.S. It was founded in 1638. New Haven, Connecticut is the birthplace of George W. Bush, the only U.S. president born in the state. Edwin Land was born in Connecticut. This genius is credited with patenting 535 inventions, more than anyone except Thomas Edison, 1,097 American patents. Wondering what was his famous invention? Learn that it was his Polaroid instant camera. With this camera, he made possible for a picture to be taken and developed in 60 seconds or less. Did you know that between 1790 and 1890 over 20,000 patents had been granted to over 5,000 Connecticut inventors, including 44 women? The Constitution State is the birthplace of the world's first practical helicopter. Designed by Vought Sikorsky, the VS-300 took flight at Stratford, Connecticut on September 14, 1939. Connecticut and Rhode Island have no county government. All county governments in Connecticut were abolished on October 1, 1960. On February 21, 1878, the first telephone book was issued in New Haven, Connecticut. The book had the contacts of only 50 people, representing the fact that the invention of the telephone was made recently. Alexander Graham Bell demonstrated his invention, the telephone, in New Haven. In 1844, the first use of anesthesia was made in Connecticut by Horace Wells. Nitrous oxide was used for the purpose. Noah Webster, the author of the first American English dictionary, was born in West Hartford, Connecticut on the 16th of October, 1758. Connecticut is one of the 48 contiguous states of the U.S. Lollipops were invented by George Smith of New Haven, Connecticut, in 1908. He had this idea of putting candy on a stick so that it is easier to consume. Lollipops were originally soft rather than hard. Did you know when and where the first hamburger in the United States was made? Learn that Lewis's Lunch in New Haven, Connecticut is the first and the oldest still operating hamburger serving restaurant in the U.S. Yale University is located in New Haven, Connecticut. Established in 1701. Yale University is the third oldest institution of higher education in the United States. U.S. Presidents such as Gerald Ford, William Howard Taft, George W. Bush and Bill Clinton have all attended it. The first public tree planting program in America was conducted in New Haven, Connecticut. The city was given the nickname, the Elm City, because the trees planted in the program were elms. Bridgeport is Connecticut's largest city, followed by New Haven and Hartford. ESPN, the world's first sports cable channel, was launched in Bristol, Connecticut in 1979. With this fact, also learn that Stamford, Connecticut is where the headquarters of World Wrestling Entertainment, Inc. is located. Lyme disease, spread by ticks in Northern Hemisphere, was first identified in 1975. In Old Lyme, Connecticut. John Haynes was Connecticut's first governor. Connecticut is one of the most densely populated states of the U.S. The first fully operational steel mill in America opened in Simsbury, Connecticut, in 1728. Mark Twain, an American writer, humorist, entrepreneur, publisher, and lecturer, wrote his famous adventure of Huckleberry Finn while in Hartford, Connecticut. In 2008, the Supreme Court legalized marriages between the individuals of the same sex. And in 2003, Massachusetts became the first state to legalize gay marriages. Connecticut and Rhode Island were the only two states that did not ratify the 18th Amendment, which prohibited the manufacture, sale or transportation of alcohol. Lake Candlewood is the largest lake in Connecticut. The lake has an area of 8.4 square miles, and some of the most expensive real estate in Connecticut is located on the shores of the lake, in the towns of Brookfield, New Fairfield, New Milford, and Sherman. Connecticut can be divided into 3 geographic regions. The western uplands, filled with steep hills, the central lowlands, contains ridges and valleys, and eastern uplands, has hills, rivers, and dense forest. Among the 50 states, Connecticut is first on the list of the percentage of urban lands covered by trees. Close to 60% of the state's land is covered by forest. The most common tree in Connecticut is the red maple.
If you liked this video, please hit the like button. If you want to see more videos, hit the subscribe button. And if you have something to say, please leave a comment. Thanks for watching this video.